Hey there, Heather Holders. Jeff Caradamo. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey video for the 74-75 Philadelphia Flyers. And we are in a dogfight with the Islanders for the top spot in the Patrick Division. And it's huge because in 74-75, 12 teams made the playoffs. The 4 division winners would get to the quarterfinals. And the other 8 teams, based on points, it doesn't matter what division you are in, would play each other for notoriety and the fact that you can get to the quarterfinals. We need to win our division. We're 3 points back of those pesky cupcakes. The Rangers are trying to hold off Atlanta because the Flames are trying to get that third and final playoff spot in the Patrick division. In the Smythe, we know it's Vancouver, Chicago, St. Louis, but what order we don't know because it could be anyone's race for the Smythe. The Adams division, Buffalo's crushed it. Boston will take second. Toronto will take third, despite 60 points. Atlanta fans will be pissed. Or Ranger fans, too, if they fall. The North, Montreal's crushed it. LA will definitely get second. Pittsburgh third. Detroit and Washington will be watching for the sidelines. Detroit, of course, will be just like, we have more wins than those pesky Leafs. Why are we being punished? Right? Anyway, Reggie Leach has 52 goals for us. Danny Grant and Guy Lafleur have 53. Phil Esposito has 51. So we have 4 50-goal scores and 7 40-goal scores. It's Rick Martin, Bill Goldsberg, and Rene Robert have that mark. Rick Boulish has 36. I don't know if he'll get to 40. Points-wise, Bobby Clark is chasing. He's only 3 points back of Marcel Dion for the Art Ross. Guy Lafleur, third, 106. Espo and Orr, 4-5. Our second best guy is Reggie Leach, who's 13th. Penalty minutes, 433 from Schultz. And DuPont second, Byron Watson third. Our third best penalty guy is not there. Thank goodness for that. Goaltending, Rogie Vachon and Glenn Chico Resch are good at the net. With Dan Bouchard, a 204 third. Bernie Prounce fourth with a 213. Goals against. Standings wise, everyone's played 80. Well, 80 games is the maximum. Vancouver has played 77. So Vancouver's got the biggest problem. They've got only 3 games left. Chicago's got 5 left, and St. Louis has 4 left. So Chicago's got 2 games in hand on Vancouver, and St. Louis has a game in hand on Vancouver. Anyway, the Islanders, Philly's 1 game back. We have 5 games left. The Cupcakes have 4, so we have 1 game in hand, but we can only get to 1 point. The Flames do have a game in hand on the Rangers, but only 2 points. There. Every other race has been kind of set in stone. We're 25-7-5 at home, 20-10-8 on the road. 20 road wins, that's pretty good. Only Montreal has 20 road wins. Los Angeles has 19. The Cupcakes and Buffalo both have 18. So yeah, Montreal's dominant, 8 losses, and yet this was a very beautiful. Anyway, highlights wise, lots of hat tricks, 57 in total. Yeah, Bill Luckett had a hat trick, but at a tie. Boston, Washington, most memorable game of the season so far. Boston was up 5-2 on the expansion Caps, but gave up 5 goals. Montreal, Vancouver, February 26th, when Vancouver was up 4-0 and they fucked it up. I don't know why that's not number 1. Montreal, Detroit, January 8th, when it was 7-5 for Montreal. 5-3 back. So we play in Chicago. We play a double header with Chicago. If you look at the schedule, we have Chicago, Rangers, Islanders, Atlanta. So we play the Hawks are still only 2 games out of division. Our first game is in Chicago, and Bernie is in net against Espo. Remember, this is critical because we're going to try to help Vancouver and St. Louis out. Well, basically, we could help Vancouver out. Well, Vancouver did steal the WHA team from the Blazers from Philadelphia, but Philly gave up on that. And Barry Brown was part of the Philadelphia Blazers, but because of money issues, he refused to play. Tony Esposito for Chicago, the main goalie for the Hawks. Michel Dumas and Mike Flyers are doing the jobs. Wayne Stevenson and Bobby Taylor doing our job. Reggie Leach, the Ripton Rifle. Rick McLeish, great player. Bill Barber, Kitchener. Bobby Clark, our captain. Russ Lonsberry, Bill Clement, who did color commentating for ABC. Gary Dornhofer doing that stuff for CBC. And Andre Boost-Dupont was supposed to have scored a game-winning goal on NBC in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals in '34, but it was Rick McLeish's goal. The colorful nicknames of Bob, Hound, Kelly, or as Kindrachuk. Did he really need a nickname? Don Big Bird Zaleski, Tom Blades Bladen, Dave the Hammer Schultz, and Terry Burnter Crisp. Of the '89 Flames as head coach. The Watsons, Jimmy and Joe, Larry Goodenough, Ed Van with his powerful hits, including Super Series 76 against the Russians. Ted Harris, Bob Sawar, Serge Lachonez, and Jack McLeany. Chicago has Stan Mikita, who once was a penalty minutes eater, but after his 2-year-old daughter was not happy with her dad to be in the penalty box, he decided to change his evil ways. Jim Pappin, former Leaf icon, Cliff Coral, Ivan Boldrev coming over from Yugoslavia, Darcy Rodat, Pitt Martin, who was traded from the Bruins to the Blackhawks in the Phil Esposito deal. Chicago's been regretting that for years. John Marks, Jermaine Gagnon, Dennis Hall, who's decided to stay in the NHL instead of joining his brother in the WHA. Dick Redmond, J.P. Borderlow, Grant Mulvey, Phil Russell, Doug Jarrett, Dale Townend, the former number 2 pick of the 1970 draft, Alan Dagg, Bill White, who was part of Series 72, Keith Magnuson, who unfortunately died thanks to Rob Ramage's stupidity, Dwayne Riley, Rob Palmer, Roger Wilson, and Randy Holt, who once kissed a puck and got 2-minute penalty. 3 minutes into the game, Mikita gets hacked by Schultz. Of course he did. And they score. Pitt Martin from Dennis Hall. 1-0 Hawks. 3 minutes later. We score! Hammer! Hammer man! Hammer! Hammer man! His 7th from Clement and Reggie Leach, trying to redeem himself. 3 minutes later. We get penalized. Damn it, Hammer. Rhoda, oh! And we survive. This time. Chance for us? No. Blue dye is on, Chicago dye is red. Chicago had 8 ties in real life and 19 in this one. They have the most ties. We have a chance. Bladen. Frig. I thought we had it. Much later. Hawks get a penalty. It's Dickie Redmond. Did we take a chance? Skier. Pop-up power play goal. Give it a rest. Kindrachuk, his 14th from Bell Barber, Kitchener, and Bobby Clark. Trying to get that point total. 1 minute later. Chance for Lonsberry. No. 3 minutes later. I have a chance, Chicago? No. Stopped by Bernie. 4 more minutes. We're at 2-1 on the Hawks. 1 more period. They try to go quickly and fail. 3 minutes. Hit. It's Reggie Leach. That's for with Joe Watson. Hit. Because we're the Broad Street Bullies. FLYERS happened from the feet and pit. 2-2. We take advantage. Yes, we have a score. Kindrachuk, his 2nd of the night. Who knew he would be a goal scorer? From Jimmy Watson. Much later. Pappin from Boldrev and Nikita. Tied it. Oh boy. And we got a penalty on Zaleski. Oh, fuck. Well, we got a point out of it. It could have been all bad. We had a couple of leads, but we blew it. Perron tried his best, but Jim Pappin scored twice. Kindrachuk scored twice. That means we tie Chicago. So what does that mean for the standings? Well, that puts them at 74, 2 back of Vancouver. They do have a game in hand. So we kind of do Vancouver a favor. Islanders Atlanta. Islanders beat Atlanta. Well, that's not good. The Islanders keep winning. Boston beats Montreal. Toronto keeps losing to Buffalo. Kansas City wins their 10th game. The Rangers lose. That actually helps Atlanta out in a sense. They may have lost, but Kansas City did their job. 7-5. How the hell did the Rangers choke it? We beat Chicago. Well, the rule is that if we lose or tie, we're out. We have to simulate the next game. We do beat Chicago. Perron gets revenge 6-3. They scored. Pappin scored again. Rhoda and Marks. But we scored with Bill Barber, Kitchener, McLeish, Reggie Leach, DuPont, Dornhofer, and Watson. Minnesota beats Pittsburgh, and Detroit and Washington tie. April 1st, we don't play. Buffalo, Boston. LA beats Kansas City. St. Louis beats Minnesota. Islanders beat Atlanta. That kind of helps the Rangers, but that doesn't help us. Yep, we got to go. We have 3 games left. We have 3 games in 4 days? We do. Okay. Vancouver beat Cal. Detroit beat Washington. Pittsburgh ties Montreal. LA and St. Louis tie. And Toronto beats Atlanta. So now, that game doesn't mean anything. Chicago wins 8-2. So against the Rangers. So we're 4 back. Well, we win. We're only 2 back. It is our game in hand on the Islanders. And we'll be 2 back with 2 games to play. Rangers. Yeah, this game's against the Rangers, right? If the Rangers win, then that means they get the 3rd spot. Then that means Atlanta can't clinch a playoff berth no matter what they do. We can kind of help Atlanta by forcing the Rangers to lose. We can help Atlanta out because Atlanta will still have a chance. They need 3 points out of 4. They'll be only 3 back, but everyone will be at 78. In the Smythe, Vancouver's almost all but done. Chicago's got 76. St. Louis. Chicago practically has to win both games and help Vancouver choke their last game. St. Louis, I don't think can win the Smythe. And everything else is set in stone. So we need to beat the Rangers. If we can beat the Rangers, we'll win. And it'll be Bernie versus Vermeulen. Well, Jack May, Kurt Ridley, Doug Wilson. They have Steve Vickers, Rod Chabert, who once slipped on an ice cream container in Guelph and hurt his back. John Martel, before he went to Boston in that Phillies Brazil trade. Greg Police. Derek Sanderson coming to New York, which actually bit him in the butt because of New York's fine life and Sanderson burning his money, so to speak. Bill Fairbairn. Pete Stamkowski, the Polish rifle. Rick Middleton. Yeah, he was a Ranger before he was traded to Boston. One of the worst trades ever. And that was for Ken Hodge Sr. That was not the Espo move. Ted Irvin, who would have a son who would be a WWE champion, which was Chris Jericho. Jerry Butler, future Leaf and Canuck. Brad Park, who would go to Boston in that big trade. Rangers Boston trade. Well, Kachuk, Kitchener. Yeah. And also from West Germany. Ron Breshner, when he was a youngster. Bert Wilson, Gilles Marat, Nick Beverly, Bobby Russo, former habitant, John Benarski, Dale Rolfe, who got beaten up so badly. People thought that was the turning point for why the Flyers beat the Rangers in the semifinals. Of course, the Rangers could not lose a player because of the 3rd man in rule. Ron Harris, one of the 2 guys who accidentally killed Bill Masterton. Bob McMillan, future Flavian Leaf. Jerry Holland, Joe Sanusi, the throw-in in the Rangers Boston trade. Dave Maloney, Kitchener, and Heartland Monahan. So we can do Atlanta a favor. McLeish gets hit. Like, we don't want this guy. Sessions? They get these guys moves, and it's Garash. Let's go! Alright, Steven Kuchak from Goodinville and Grit. Atlanta fans are watching on the ESF channels. That is saved by Perrant. Much later. And it's going to be Irvin. On third base. Let's go! Purple goal by Riverton Rifle for 54 from Joe Watkins Jr. And it's going to penalize Phil Barber. Well, we're up 2-0. We're helping Atlanta. Atlanta fans will be happy and giving Philadelphia fruit baskets. But John Martel puts up his 30th in the scores. Ron Harris and Vickers with the assist. 2-1. Much later. 2 hits. Bum. Much later. We're killing the clock. Rangers take a special penalty. It's Wilson. But Leach and Schultz can't do anything. Rangers Skiers. Kitchener. Kachuk is 13 from Stamkowski. 2-2. And the perfect numerology. 2-2 after 2. 4 minutes. Desmond Lansbury. 1 more minute. We got a penalty, and it's going to be Hammer. No surprise. Gilbert Flump. Bobby Clark. No. And we killed the zone on Fairbairn. 4 more minutes. No shot. 3 more minutes. Time is running low. Oh, Raiden just took a dumb penalty. Damn it. Or Fickers from Stamkowski makes it 3-2, and they have a chance to eliminate Atlanta from playoff contention. 20 minutes. 1 minute, no. And Jerry Butler slides into the empty net, and the Rangers win 4-2. They are now playoff bound, and that actually helps the Islanders because I think we can't catch them now. So the Rangers helped their cousins, the Islanders, out that 4-2 win. So that means, yeah, we can't do it. It doesn't matter what we do because the Islanders, yeah, it doesn't matter what we do. Yeah, it doesn't matter what we do because even if we win both, that's 48 wins, and the Islanders would have more wins than us. So practically, that loss just killed us. The Rangers are now the 3 seed. They're definitely in Atlanta. Cannot catch the Rangers. I know we play the Islanders. I know we play the Flames, but those 2 games are meaningless. And we are the 5 seed officially. Okay, we'll be the 5 seed officially because LA can't catch us for points. So we are the top team that doesn't win the division. 106 points. Everyone has 106 points the division except for the Smythe. Well, the Smythe, Vancouver, Chicago, and St. Louis. We don't know what the situation is. Chicago has to win both games to catch Vancouver. They're the only team. Vancouver can't. Well, St. Louis wins both. So that's 31. They can't catch Vancouver. So Vancouver needs Chicago to drop a point or 2. Yeah, to drop a point because 30. They need Chicago to drop a point. Everybody wants to be like me. Yeah, our game again. Our next games don't matter. Rangers beat Atlanta anyway, 4-3. Vancouver beats Minnesota, and I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Vancouver beats Minnesota and gets themselves the Smite division. Chicago can't do anything, so everything is set. The Islanders will win the Patrick. Philly and New York will qualify second and third. Smythe, Vancouver will do it. Chicago and St. Louis will clinch. Like they're the goal for points. That will decide maybe playoff matchups. Buffalo's in Boston, Toronto, and the Adams, and the North, Montreal, LA, and Pittsburgh in that order. LA crushes California and fine powder. Montreal crushes Washington and fine powder. Pittsburgh crushes Detroit and fine powder 5-2. Chicago and St. Louis end up tying each other. Toronto beats Buffalo. So yeah, Chicago needed both points. So we're facing the Islanders, and we're gonna throw Bobby Taylor in the net against Chico Resch. We might as well. I mean, like, it will auto finish, and we lost 4-2. I guess you could do that. Barber did get his 30th, and Watson got his 12th, but Harris, Bourne, Jean Patin, and St. Laurent scored. We basically just threw the game. Toronto at Boston. Toronto beats Boston 5-4. Big one for them. Chicago beats Minnesota. TLTL for them. LA beats California. Detroit shuts out Montreal, who basically playing for fun. St. Louis beats Kansas City. Rangers beat the Islanders, which is kind of cool. And Pittsburgh beat Washington. But anyway, one more game left. Phil Meyer in the net. Well, they only have 2 goalies. So Stevenson. So we're going to give Wayne Stevenson a start. And Bill Watson gets us the perfect start from Bill Milne. Okay, we'll just auto finish. And we win 5-2 as Bennett and Fail scored for Atlanta, but we've got Watson, Crisp, Dornhofer, Watson, and McLeish with the goals 5-2. So everyone's played. So our 80 games, we've got 108 points, which would have won every division except we're third in the NHL in points, behind only Montreal and the Islanders, but the others are in their own division. Vancouver, 81 points. Vancouver would be 4th in the Patrick and out of the Patrick if they played in the Patrick. In the Adams, they would be 3rd, and in the North, they would be out in 4th place. Fortunately, they play in the weak Smythe division and get a bye into the quarterfinals. Chicago and St. Louis bring up the rear. 78 points. Yeah. Atlanta is whining and complaining because their 78 points was more than Toronto. Toronto has 66 points, and yet they're in the Adams division and they made it in the playoffs. If they were in the 5-team division, they would be more terrible. But yeah, Toronto got through. Atlanta must be whining. They actually had this as much points as St. Louis did too. Actually, they had more wins than St. Louis. Yeah, Detroit had 69 points and won't make it. Not so nice. Unfortunately for Reggie, he couldn't get his 55th goal to tie Espo and Danny Grant for the goal scoring lead. Guy Lafleur put up 53. Rick Martin was so close to 50, just 2 off, 48. Goldsworthy, Rene Robert, Gilbert Pro, and Jean Prodeveau with 40 goals. Points wise, Clark missed by 2 points. He had 11 assists. But yeah, Dion beat him by 2 points. Guy Lafleur took 30 points. So Marcel Dion is the Art Ross winner. Penalty minutes, well, Dave Schultz 469. DuPont 281 to take second. Perron forfeit goals against. Fashon, Chico, and Bouchard are your goalies ahead of him. He played 68 games. I think he played the most, right? I think so. Yeah, he did. He played the most. Espel played 65 games. You know, Perron played 68 of the 80 games with 5 shutouts. Standings wise, yeah, 47 wins. Pretty good. 301 goals, second in the division. The Rangers scored more goals in the division. That's weird. Us, Pittsburgh, Montreal, and Buffalo all scored 300 goals. So 5 300 goal scoring teams. We gave up 192 to be tied for third with the others behind LA, Montreal. Surprised that LA had the best goals against, and yet they finished behind Montreal because they couldn't score goals, I guess. Our home record 27, 8, and 5. Not half bad. The Islanders only lost twice at home. Buffalo's lost 7. Boston lost 9 times. Montreal and Pittsburgh all lost only in single digits at home. On the road, we had 20 wins. That actually was third as the Kings crept up and took the second best road record. But I feel for LA, 105 points, and they didn't win their division either. They would have won the Smythe. Teams wise, us, well, we had a bit of streaks. We actually started off 9-0-1, and we just crapped out. We had a 3-game losing streak in November to the Islanders, Minnesota, and to Washington of all fucking teams. We had a 3-game losing streak in December into the new year. We went to Buffalo, Vancouver, and LA, lost to all 3 teams. Vancouver is inexcusable. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. I know I'm fit to be tied if I am, to be honest with you. All right, so the stats. Brady Prawn, 42, 15, and 11, 217 goals against 5 shutouts. Stevenson started 8 games. He's 5-1 and 2. Bobby Taylor just couldn't win a game to save his life. But, you know, we had to give him some pointers. Bobby Clark, 119 points to lead. Reggie Leach, second, 92. Rick McLeish, 80. Bill Barber with 65. Kitchener. Gary Dornhofer, 60. Russ Lonsberry, 48. Otis Skinnerchuk, 42. Bill Clement, 36. Terry Crisp, 32. Moose Duvon, 31. Jimmy Watson, 30. Don Zaleski, 27. Tom Bladen, 27. Joe Watson, 25. Bob Kelly, 22. Ed Finnem, 18 points. Dave Schultz, 16. Larry Goodenow, 13. Ted Harris, 11. Yeah, I think that's everyone except for like Bob Savoy, Lejeunesse, and McElhaney. Savoy had 4 penalty minutes, McElhaney had 8, and Serge didn't play at 1 minute. Goals, Reggie Leach 54. Ted Harris had 1. Larry Goodenow and Terry Crisp only had 3 each. Assists, Dave Schultz had 9. Penalty minutes, we led. Highlights, our best win was 9-0 against the Rangers February 5th when Parent Shakmon. Leach, Barber, McLeish, Clark, McLeish, Kinderchuk, Lonsberry, McLeish. Our worst loss was 5-2 to the Islanders on November the 5th. We didn't lose by more than 3 goals, and that's when Bobby Taylor started. I guess we threw Bobby Taylor in there. It was 2-2 for a while, and then Stuart Hart and Harris screwed us over. Yeah, we only lost by 3 goals. That's our worst loss. And I believe that, yeah, we were the only team to have our worst loss be only 3. We never lost by 4. We're the only team not to lose a game by 4. Atlanta and Montreal lost a game by 4. Yeah, Montreal losing to Detroit was shocking, 4-0 on April 6th. Bloom, McKechnie, Luca, and Dion scoring. Atlanta's worst was 4-0 in LA December 7th with Kolzak, Carr, Kozak and Goring with the goals. Rangers put up 14 goals against Washington. I think on opening day. That's right. Washington did score with Lysak to make it 13-1. All those goals. Poor Bellhammer. I feel bad for the guy. Buffalo beat Washington 10-0 December 5th. Adams losing to Jerry Desjardins. Montreal beat Kansas City 10-2 March 29th. McDuff getting his butt hit by Dryden. Snell and Rhoda did score. Guy Lafleur put up not one, not two, but 4 goals that day. And that's it. Only 3 teams. Wow. 59 hat tricks. Minnesota Vancouver jumped into second place on April 4th. Minnesota was up 4-0 through 2 periods, and they blew it. That was the game in which the Canucks clinched the Smythe. Gold of Flaherty, Kitchener, Vandergert, Lever, Odrielson, and Daly scoring. How did Pete Lepresti, fuck that up? All right, so we got to go to the playoffs. On to the playoffs. Yeah, the preliminary round. We play Toronto. We had the most points in this. So we got to play Toronto. LA plays St. Louis. Pittsburgh versus Chicago and Boston Rangers. That's how everything will be set up in stone. Because the Montreal Islanders, Buffalo, and Vancouver all get spots in the quarterfinals. But they're not showing the bracket. Well, anyway, yeah, the preliminary round. So we got to play Toronto. It's a best of 3, so next video we'll do the preliminary round and then we'll set up the quarterfinals for everything else. Yeah, the preliminary round will probably be short, but be about a 20-minute video, but whatever. Anyhow, I'm going to do.